Welcome to Launch Day again here at Invite Ministries. I am so excited to celebrate another book by our friend Shane Bishop. This one's titled In Search of the Holy, How to Live Boldly in an Ordinary World. Shane, congratulations on the launch of your new book.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Excited about the day. I always had this feeling like, let's just see what God wants to do with it, right?
Yeah.
All we can do is write it, throw it out there. The rest is kind of up to God.
You got a copy with you? Is that right?
I do. Got a copy. Just got them a couple days ago, but I am a proud owner of a hard copy of In Search of the Holy.
All right. I got to give a shout out to our designers for this one. This is one of my favorite covers we've done. It's got this Indiana Jones vibe here going on.
Well, it's crazy fun, and it very much matches the content, which I thought was part of the brilliance of your team with That's Good News. The cover just matched the content. It was like a perfect marriage, and I think it's part of why that book did so well. Yeah. But I love this cover. This is just fun all day long and exactly what I was getting at.
Very good. Well, give our listeners an overview here. What's the book about?
The book is about emerging from a straitjacket kind of Christianity that's life stifling. And moving beyond religion into a bold, adventurous relationship with Jesus Christ that fills your life with purpose and peace and passion and power, kind of just moving from dull and ordinary to shiny and extraordinary. And it kind of gets at that word holy, which just means set apart for a special purpose. We've been set apart for the purpose of not only being God's own, but also doing God's stuff. And that gives our life lots of adventure.
One of the things I love about this book, Shade, is that there's kind of a curveball. Like a lot of people would think that the 10 Commandments are exactly what you just said not to do just now. You know, you'd have rules or stifling, but yet you're using the 10 Commandments to describe a life that's the exact opposite of that. So how does that actually work here?
Yeah, I'm in pretty good company doing that because Jesus did it. You know, he said, you've heard it said, thou shalt not, but I say. The whole idea for me is religion will always have you trying harder, right? You're terrible, try harder. But the gospel is antithetical to that. The gospel message isn't try harder. The gospel message is be transformed. And for Jesus, it wasn't until we realized that we could not live up to the demands of religion that we were at a place to truly receive the gift that he had in a relationship with God made possible through his life, death, and resurrection. So I really want to emphasize that what we're living into is not a prize to be earned. It's a gift to be received. And that's what I really want to learn, moving beyond just keeping the rules to a life that is so connected with God that you accidentally keep the rules on one hand, but your focus is on living this adventure that God has for you, not on just keeping rules.
You think we're in a culture now, I guess this is a leading question, where we just have, a ton of emphasis, even in faith settings, on keeping the rules or doing the right things. It sure seems that way to me.
Yeah, I think we've always dealt with a lot of what I just call duty, guilt, and obligation. And I think churches that are still leaning into that are really up against a challenge because I don't think a lot of people today feel any sense of duty. I don't think they feel any guilt, and I don't think they're obligated to do anything. And so, boy, if you're the first church of duty, guilt, and obligation, I'm going to tell you, you're probably in a bad, bad place. This is the opposite of that. This is about holiness in terms of an intense adventure that we live where God does his work in us so we can do his work in the world. There's this kind of secret agent kind of thing. We're on mission in a dangerous place, doing God's stuff, empowered by his spirit. And all the while his work's being done in us so we can do his work. So it's a paradigmic shift, I think, from following the rules to, I've always said religion is like obeying the law, but Christianity is like being in love. And there's nothing wrong with obeying the law, but being in love is more fun.
So, we're doing a lot of stuff together, which is so much fun for me. And from my perspective, we didn't talk as much about this book. I mean, it just kind of felt like you said, "Oh, here's another book I wrote." So I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." So, like, what's the backstory? Like, kind of what led to this? Why'd you write this book?
Yeah. When I was in seminary, as odd as this seems, 200 years ago, back when, helmets were made of leather and there were no face masks. But back when I was in seminary, I was in South Georgia or in Middle Georgia. And people would talk to me about faith. And so often, the whole idea that they had a faith was just keeping the 10 Commandments. I mean, that was really it. This idea that, I'm a good person. And so that's all that matters. What makes me a good person? Because I keep 8 out of 10 of the 10 Commandments on most days. And, if you look at the 10 Commandments, I think we're tempted to think, yeah, we can be right with God through that. Because if you think about it, there's only 10, right? One's thou shalt not murder, feels like 9. And so you get kind of thinking, well, I can do this. I can do this. But what Jesus always did was raise the bar. And you got to ask why. Why is he, the second we think we can do it, why is he always telling us that we can't? Because it's not until we realize that we can't, that we're not that we are in a place to say, but you can do this through me. And so this is a transformative argument. And part of what I wanted to do was just sort of address something I dealt with early and something that a lot of people today kind of have in their minds. All I really need to be is a good person. Don't really need to go to church. Don't really need to read the Bible. All I really need to be is a good person. And my argument, and I think the Christian argument, is no, you need a relationship with Jesus Christ. But that is going to transform your life into something really exciting.
And even to those who think they are religious or check the boxes, right? We were on a Zoom call with some friends a few weeks ago, and one of them brought up a chart from Barna. Do you remember this? And it said like there were 9 levels, and it said 89% of Christians get to the level, I forgot what number it was, of the 9 that said good works. And that's about as far as it got to them, right? But you're calling this idea of holiness is something else altogether.
It's something else altogether. It's something that God does in us, and it's transformative in its nature. And when I look at our culture today, Lynn, people sort of struggle with any sense of purpose whatsoever. It used to be, I think, therefore I am. Now it's probably I emote, therefore I am. People are always looking for something to, get radiating at a high frequency about, to feel a little bit alive. Yeah. And then the people that can't even manage that spend their whole life just trying to dull the pain. I just want to suggest there's a different template for life that was brought to us by Jesus. And by tapping into that, I think we get everything our soul truly desires.
We got a couple of great early endorsements from some friends. Want to look at these ones from our friend Jen Cowart. Shane's done it again. He's written a real and challenging work to help move people from religion to relationship. It's all about Jesus, but we can agree on that. Shane gets it, and his heart is for you to get it too. Get this book, read it, grow, and enjoy. That's a good word from Jen. Also from our friend Ted Bryant, Through the Lens of the Gospel, In Search of the Holy, unpacks the 10 Commandments to transform our everyday lives. Shane's style is entertaining, yet it provokes us to respond to God's pull on our hearts. The use of common language, that's you, Shane, enables God's truth to be impactful for a wide variety of faith experiences. In Search of the Holy brings powerful insight, clarity, and application from God's heart for our holiness. Wow. Great words from a couple of friends there as we've seen this book launch. I can't wait to see what happens. You're pumping out so much good work right now that I feel like that it's going to take people a little time maybe to catch up. I mean, maybe some of the people might just say, "Oh, wow, that's good news." Your first book, which was February 23, almost 2 years ago now. Yeah. Some folks are just discovering that, but meanwhile, you've done a Ping Life, and now this, and of course the trail guides as well. So you have been Mr. Prolific lately with Invite, and I'm thankful, Shane, for your work.
Well, I was thinking myself like one of those bands, from the 70s that kind of starts, kind of gets a publishing, a record deal after they've been playing about 20 years. Their first album's really good. I mean, their first album really good. It's the greatest hits from 20 years of playing in bad venues. Once they get a little prolific, start being on tour about 364 days a year. You got to make another album in a year. You start running out of stuff. So right now, I think I'm just sort of reaching into a trove of things that I've got on my heart and some passions, sharing with people some things I've learned. One of the things I think about all the time is I've got a church here, but I also have this huge social media community that I also speak into those lives. This becomes another avenue to speak into lives and to connect people with Jesus. And I'm grateful for the opportunity. And I'm glad it came along at a time in my life that I've got time to be able to do that. It's not always been the case.
That is great. Part of the launch day of what we do is to draw attention to the two different main places you can buy. Of course, you can buy the book anywhere. You can buy it in Target. It's available around the world and all that. But really, most people tend to buy either through Amazon or through the Invite site. The Invite site offers some bulk discounts. Not everybody is always aware of that. Maybe they try to go buy a bunch of them for their Bible study group. But if you go on Amazon to do that, you're paying full price. But if you go to Invite, you can get discounts there, which we've set up. But particularly on this day, we like to talk about Amazon because we want to kind of get those algorithms and those rankings moving up as much as possible. So it's out there on Amazon. This is the day to do that. They only give you one category though, which is this is Amazon's choice. It's Christian spiritual growth, which I think everything from C.S. Lewis to Packer to Chesterton's in that article, in that category. So that's kind of a hard one to top out, but we'll see what happens.
Well, you always hope you end up in some kind of freakishly small category, so you can be number one. Like, books, Amish books on self-improvement and modernization. Now there's a category you could go to number one in pretty quick. So I'm always hoping that. And I think next time I write a book, I'm going to say something about the Amish and about mechanics and just see if maybe I can land in a more viable category.
I think,
Lynn,
that's a good marketing strategy.
Yeah, at the end of the day, none of that matters. You know what I mean? It just doesn't matter. I do this because God has put something in me that wants to use what gifts I have. And I think my strength is that I'm able to take pretty complicated concepts and writing short books, often funny books. I'm able to take pretty difficult concepts and share them with just regular people, with my people. I'm from Southern Illinois. I mean, I love regular people and just regular Christians, and being able to put something in their hands that they'll actually read, that they'll enjoy, and they'll put down and say, hey, I don't think I can ever be the same again. Something like that's worth doing.
I think maybe next we need to do a book on God and baseball or something like that. We got to think about that.
Yeah, I used to do a thing, if church was more like baseball, I would do a thing every single year. It was very popular. I don't think it connected anyone to Christ, and probably served to only entertain me, which is of some value to me personally, though.
It's always fun working with you, Shane. I'm so excited about this book, In Search of the Holy, How to Live Boldly in an Ordinary World. Great cover, great book, great guy. You need to get a hold of this book and use it with your teams, small groups, Bible studies, Sunday schools, and really understand what holiness is all about. So, Shane, thank you, and congratulations on launch day.
Thanks, Lynn, and it is an absolute joy to work with you and your team at Invite Ministries. It's a true privilege and a joy.
All right, go to Amazon.com today and get it, In Search of the Holy by Shane L. Bishop.